What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the next episode in the bus build series. This scene should look familiar, and that is because I am finally back home in Northern California. The fires are contained and controlled. My house is still standing, which is a huge blessing, and I'm very thankful to be back here and able to get back to work. I want to remind you, before we get into this video, to like and subscribe down below and help this channel keep growing the way it's been growing. The last day and a half, I have been trying to figure out how to stain match pine strips to the color and texture that I have put on my floor. It's because I want my ceiling to look as close to the floor as possible. Now, I picked up a whole bunch of these tongue and groove 1/4 inch thick pine wainscot strips from Lowe's, and I'm going to use those on my ceiling. It's a common thing with these schoolie builds, but stain matching is a challenge. So yesterday I picked up a couple bottles of Minwax, jars, cans, jug, vessels. I picked up a couple of different stain options and I tested them, and they all turned out terrible. I was very discouraged. I haven't really stained wood before, you know. Yeah, I've done a token here and there, but it's not like I had to figure out how to match something. It was pretty discouraging yesterday. I picked up a couple more this morning and my tests are getting much closer, right? I'm still combining different layers of this stain with a gray on top or a white on top to add a little bit of variation in the grains or in the cracks, but I'm getting much closer to something that I'm happy with. Here's my most recent test stick. Like, that is pretty close, right? I think it's pretty close. I'm gonna try one where it's inverted, so either the gray or the white on the bottom. Okay, after that most recent round of testing with the white on the bottom and then the stains on top, and the gray on the bottom and the stains on top, I think this one, white with the Provincial, is pretty close to the lighter tones found in our floor, right? However, gray with the Eastern American is really close to like the darker zones found on the floor. So we're finding some really good combos. Now I'm gonna try one round of staining, but blending the stains before I put it on. I haven't done my research, so I don't know if that's effective. So we'll see. After looking at these sticks, I think we're gonna try a whole piece with the early American and then the gray on top. So we have our half-length panel, and she's gonna give it a little layer of early American. Yeah?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Wave. Wave to all your fans back home.
What?
Hello.
Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad. My OnlyFans.
OnlyFans? You have an OnlyFans?
What?
So by the end of yesterday, I did several other small chores in the bus, fixed some electrical issues that I was having, repainted and resanded a couple pieces. But I think I have decided on a stain strategy, and this is a mixture of 2 parts Provincial with 1 part gray and 1 part white. But it's pre-mixed and then stained, so it's 1 round of stain, but mixing the stains ahead of time. So I think that's what I'm gonna go with. But right now, that means that I need to sand a whole bunch of these. I think I bought 5 the other day and I had 3 before, so 8 times 6, was that like 48? I got like almost 50 of these long 8-foot strips. I hope that's gonna be enough. It should be enough. It should be excess. But I'm gonna sand them all and stain them all, that way they're all ready to be used. That way I don't have to go through the sanding and staining process multiple times if I need more. So that's what I'm gonna work on now, is sanding them all, because I can't stain them till they're sanded. So gotta do that. It's gonna take a while, but I'm just gonna get to it, crank it out, and see how far we get. After about 4 hours straight of just sanding, I have all of my ceiling planks sanded and laid out, and we're ready to stain. I've come up with a formula that I think is gonna do the best job at that based on my previous experiments, and we're gonna just go for it. It's 1 part gray to 2 parts white to 2 parts provincial to 2 parts early American. So just a scooch of gray with an even mix of all the rest. And I have my chemistry station here. I have a scale so that I can get accurate measurements of each part that I add. I have all of my various parts. Here is a sample piece. It blends in with the paper on the table, and that is exactly what I want. I have some paper towel for applying the stain. I have a couple little buckets for mixing some big batches. That way I can mix once to get the same thing on all of it and not have to mix multiple times. And then I have all my pieces laid out. And just like that, all the boards are stained. Staining took way shorter than sanding and was much easier, like physically. Now I'm gonna let these dry. I'm probably gonna put a coat of polyurethane on top of them just to add a layer of protection and make it easier to clean if it gets grimy at some point. But that will come tomorrow once these are dry. My coat of polyurethane is dried, and now it's time to start putting it up. I really don't know how it's gonna look once it's all one big body, but I'm stoked to find out. I've treated all this material I have, so unless I'm gonna go repurchase material, this is what's going up. So we're gonna start putting it up. I'm gonna use a combination of wood glue and nails. The wood glue is really just gonna help keep it stuck to my furring strips long term. You know, as I'm bouncing and jiggling down the road, the nails would have a slight tendency to kind of want to wiggle out. Since these are tongue and groove though, they're gonna hold each other up once it's all put together, similar to a Roman arch, like the tension between the edges through the arc of the ceiling is gonna keep them tight, but a spot of wood glue right on these joints where it touches wood is just gonna help hold it stronger for longer. I've cut the 2 strips that are gonna go from the back to the fan and from the fan to the front, and that's where we're gonna start first. And they're gonna have to be lined up perfectly parallel with each other in a straight line so that going down either side is gonna work out the best. But got my nail gun, got my tiny hammer so we can tap the edges together, make sure they fit tight and snug. And we're just gonna start pop, 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 popping them up. Okay, ready for that first board? Here we go. And that is it for this video. If you want to see how that finished ceiling comes out, you're gonna have to tune in for the next video. If you like seeing this process and you like seeing what I'm doing and keeping up with the build, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the finished ceiling coming out in the next video. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I love the support. Keep watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.